Well, now, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration has released a statement informing the government of Ghana that the mortal remains of Christian Atsu will be returning home today. The Black Stars player was one of the thousands that lost their lives in the ghastly earthquake that rocked Turkey and the northern part of Syria. Now, that happened on the dawn of February 6th. Hatayspor, the Turkish club that Atsu played for, confirmed the news mid-morning on Saturday, 18th February, following their earlier submissions that to the effect of the player and two agents. Statement dated February 19th will be on your screen shortly, where they announced that Christian Atsu's body, which was recovered yesterday, and the mortal remains are expected to be flown to Ghana. And we understand that the government of Ghana and the family of Christian Atsu will be at the Kotoka International Airport to receive the mortal remains. And that's the statement from the Republic of Ghana, Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration. And you can see dated the mortal remains of Christian Atsu returns home. Accra, 19 February 2023. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration hereby informs that the government of Ghana is making arrangement to receive the mortal remains of late Christian Atsu, a former Black Stars player. The remains will be accompanied by his family and Ghana's ambassador to Turkey on a Turkish Airlines flight, and will arrive in Accra at 7:40 p.m. today, Sunday, the 19th of February 2023. The remains will be received at the Kotoka International Airport by the family, the Ghana Football Association, and the government upon its arrival from Istanbul, Turkey. Our thoughts and prayers are with the bereaved family, and we pray for the eternal repose of the soul of Christian Atsu. The statement ends. And on Sports Link yesterday, the man who first gave Christian Atsu his first call-up into the Black Stars, Coach Kwesi Appiah, has been speaking on who the player was and the kind of legacy he left.
I've been feeling down since I heard the news. It's really unfortunate and sad. But the little I can say about Atsu is I spotted him through a friend. So what I did was to follow him and watch his game. After some time, I gave him a call that I'll be inviting him to our national team. But one thing that I always tell my players is don't prove anything to me, but prove to Ghanaians. And I think Atsu proved to all Ghanaians that he actually deserved to be in the national team. I actually heard it from one of the media guys, one of the FM stations. They called, and I said, look, we've been hearing a lot of speculations, so it's better they confirm and make sure what they tell me is true. And they came back and said that it's true. In actual fact, Christian Atsu is one player who was loved by everyone, every player. You always see him laughing.
Your former GFA spokesperson and friend of Christian Atsu, Ibrahim Sani Dara, said Christian Atsu will be remembered on how he touched and lifted many people out of poverty because of his humble beginnings.
I remember one of the days when we were camping in Cape Coast, one afternoon. We saw a young girl, perhaps aged 9 or 10, was carrying some plantain on her head and was selling. Then we were just at the door of the hotel, and when we saw the girl, then he just muttered to me that, this girl, what she's carrying on her head would not make her a profit of beyond 10 cedis. Yet she would walk under this hot sun for the whole day, and sometimes she would not get it. I know how it feels like. Then he moved away from me for a little. He had a duffel bag with him then, and I saw him pulling out some money from the bag and giving it to the girl. Then I paid close attention to what he was saying. He was asking her about her mother. Where's her mother? And I think the girl was saying something to her. I could not hear. He told her, the last words I heard was that, please ask your parents to send you to school. This thing forever etches on my mind all the time, not only when I remind myself of Christian Atsu, but also When I look at the daily struggles that humans go through every day, be it in Ghana, anywhere in the world, where I see people, poor people, struggle in life, and he will do good like this, not only to this girl, but to many, many people, and will never mention it to anyone.
Now, away from that, in most parts of northern Ghana, drought conditions make the cultivation of maize a highly water-dependent crop, an uphill task. As a result, maize yields have been low for many farmers, but some of them seem to have found an alternative crop that gives them relatively high yields, but requires less water: sorghum. This week on Climate Focus, our correspondent Mahamudu Nuruddin Mohammed speaks to one farmer in the Upper West Village who has switched to sorghum cultivation to adapt to dry spells in his community.
The best thing about sorghum is that if they purchase it and the proceeds are high, that is why we believe it is better to concentrate on that now that the rains are unpredictable.
Producing the maize is a bit capital intensive, if I should say, because the maize crop needs much fertilizer, unlike the sorghum. And then with the maize, sometimes it will be difficult even getting the market. The sorghum, there is just a available market, and then the price is also very good as compared to that of the maize.
I don't have the figure, but we have thousands that are interested in cultivating sorghum in this municipality. And your question, sorghum is actually a drought-resistant variety.
Fertilizer prices have risen. You can't buy one if you don't have money, and if you can't grow maize without fertilizer, if you do, you will get low yields. However, if you grow sorghum on a fertile land, you will get a high yield.
71-year-old Alhaji Idrisu Dabo leaves his home at 8 a.m. on Thursday to go to his 10-acre sorghum farm, which is few meters away. The well-sprouted crops were planted 2 months ago. Alhaji Dabo is waiting for another month until the top half of the head has turned brown and the lower portion is no longer green, which are clear signs that it is time to harvest. Shattering will occur if he waits too long to harvest, and Alhaji Dabo will probably lose more seeds as a result than if he had harvested too early. There are no signs of pest, disease, or nutritional deficiencies. The leaves are healthy and the flowers are blossoming.
I believe I lose more money growing maize than sorghum. That is why we stopped cultivating maize and ventured into sorghum. Nothing indicates that the price of sorghum will fall, and the cost of living continues to rise. That is why we are all now cultivating sorghum, which can withstand bad weather.
He visits the farm every day to keep an eye on any challenges and to act, if necessary, to protect his investment.
And since when we started farming sorghum, no one in Chapori has harvested more sorghum than I have.
In the Upper West region of Ghana's Chapori community, there hasn't been any significant rainfall for some time now, but the 71-year-old farmer is delighted with how well his crops are surviving despite the dry weather.
Now, ranking member on the Lands and Forestry Committee of Parliament, Dr. Rashid Pepo, says climate change is real and all persons must change their attitudes towards saving the planet. The weather pattern is increasingly changing, with a Harmattan-like weather in a month that is usually clear in terms of the weather. Speaking to journalists in Parliament, Dr. Pepo, who is MP for Wa Central and the African Climate Envoy, tasked the government and citizens alike to do more to save the planet.
What we do here is to reflect what government is doing and to change it, to do laws for them to operate. And so I definitely will see my colleagues as working colleagues, so we can work on this together. Because if you are mobilizing 10,000 youth or 20,000 youth, you can't do it alone. You need to work with your friends and colleagues everywhere to achieve the objective. So I will see them as partners in this enterprise, and we can work together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have a specific message on climate change that you want Africans and Ghanaians to know?
Well, first of all, there was a wrong impression that climate change only happens elsewhere, but not with us. More and more, we are seeing the effect of climate change in our various localities where we live. In the north, for example, you will find that dryness and erratic rain conditions are beginning to show up in many of the places. In the rest of the country, we are seeing changes in atmospheric conditions to the negatively affecting our agriculture and other areas of endeavor. What it tells us is that the idea of climate change is here with us and is negative, and there is the dire need for us to look deeper into exactly what it is and what we can do to fight it, to ensure that we still have the kind of environment that can ensure good agriculture, good weather conditions, avoid floods, and all the issues that can destabilize our stay on Earth and in Ghana. So climate change is real, and we need to make sure we place ourselves in conditions that will not exacerbate the conditions of climate change, but to lessen the impact of it. It's inevitable once there's life, but we can lessen the negative effect of it, largely because of the use of machines and our use of chemicals in the farms and all others. It's coming from somewhere who the white people use it the more, or Europeans and Americans and the Japanese and the Asians, they use it the more. They use they use those chemicals and the more, and they pollute the environment the more. But when the effect is coming,
now, President Kufuor has called for a bold and decisive approach to deal with discrimination and gender inequality, especially among women and girls. According to him, only such an approach will help women and girls develop the right intervention to stay competitive and contribute effectively to society and the well-being. President Akufo-Addo, who is also the African Union Gender Champion, was speaking at the AU Women and Youth Financial and Economic Inclusion Initiative on the sidelines of the ongoing 26th Ordinary Sessions of the African Union Conference in Ethiopia.
Worthy to note that in 2020, when the COVID-19 pandemic struck the world and impacted gravely our economies, women were the hardest hit. Women's economic and productive lives were affected disproportionately because they have less access to social protection, and their capacity to absorb economic shocks remains low due to their overrepresentation in informal employment across sectors. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been briefed on your discussions from the past week, and I'm encouraged by the commitments and resolutions to put in place the right interventions that will open the door for the continent's youth and women to build the resilience of the African continent, allowing it to be a player in the global economy. Before I conclude, let me state that digital financial services have proven their power to transform lives across the continent. For governments, we must lead by example in digitizing payments to give women and youth the first chance to obtain accounts with which to access finance. We also need to ensure an enabling regulatory and legislative environment, and we must promote innovation and avoid discrimination. I commend the initiatives that respond to these elements, and I call on us all here present to engage with the AU's Women and Youth Financial and Economic Initiative. the Ending Violence Against Women and Youth campaigns, the Dakar and Kinshasa declarations calling for the condemnation of all forms of discrimination and violence against women and girls, and commitment to ensure that the necessary policies and measures are put in place by member states to address any form of impunity.
Now, the male worker population in Ghana is paid far more than women. These details are contained in the Maiden Earnings Inequality in the Public Sector report. Government statistician Professor Samuel Kobina Enim, announcing the findings of the research, identified that 80% of workers in the public sector earn less than 3,000 cedis. The pay gap is even wider between males and females working in the public sector.
But are the margins what we desire? Because those earning less than 3,000 are only 5 percentage points lower than those earning more than 10,000. So it is progressive, but is it progressive enough, given our tax structure? We look at the distribution across geography and sex. Participants, you recall that I did indicate Ghana is deploying a universal salary structure. So an accountant, irrespective of your location, you should get the same salary. But if you take the data from controller, you see variations across regions. So the question you ask yourself is, why that? The inherent reason is that it's possible that the distribution of skills across the 16 administrative regions vary. Because if in a particular region, you have a lot more higher skilled people, therefore they are on higher grades, relative to another region where you have less skilled people, lower grades, you see these variations. Where Greater Accra is recording the highest average earnings of about 3,142, relative to Northeast recording the lowest. This has implications for our, one, deployment of skills across the country and our quest for a balanced growth. Across male-females, we see males having an average salary of 165 Ghana cedis higher than females. The story is the same across the 16 administrative regions. But what the disaggregation is telling us is that, yes, we're seeing a higher gender pay gap for males, but the story varies across the 16 administrative regions. With a national gender pay gap of 165 Ghana cedis, we see about twice that in the Upper West region, where the variation is about 348 Ghana cedis, and we record the least in the Central region in terms of gender pay gap. We tend to average monthly salary by age. We see a gentle graduation across different ages.
Now, security analysts are advising President Akufo-Addo to intervene swiftly in containing the crisis in Bawku. This advice is coming in the wake of the enskinment of a new Bawku Naba by the Mampugu overlord last week. Many have predicted this may lead to mayhem if the state is not proactive about finding a solution. Here are Colonel Festus Abuaji, retired, and Professor Kwesi Ainin sharing their recommendations on Newsfile.
Now, I would suggest that the incumbent president seizes this opportunity to travel to the area, whether Narerigo or whether Bolga or wherever it is, in order to try and, get the parties to tone down. But all the rhetorics that are going on are not helpful. Secondly, I've said previously that these kinds of protracted social conflicts are never resolved through the use of force. It's not going to happen. Not today, not tomorrow. At the end of the day, we need to sit around the table with the parties and facilitate mediation or whatever it is. So, the government, being the central authority, must use other institutions within the state and get the parties to sit around the table and talk. But the government, I believe, can write to the National House of Chiefs through appropriate channels to get the National House of Chiefs or Regional House of Chiefs or whatever it is, to take an active role or play an active role in this. These are the 2 points. First,
thank you.
We need to hear from the president, and he should not speak anything in Accra. He should go to the area and talk to both parties on the ground. And then, at the same time, he must convene a certain process. Now, who are part of the process? Traditional leaders, religious bodies, civil society organizations, for instance, who put on the table the Damango Accord and established the inter-ethnic Bawku, peace committee and so on. All of these can be explored to try and resolve this conflict.
First is to recognize the emotional side of intractable conflicts. And listening to the two representatives, they all have the history, they all have the way they interpret it, they all have the legal side. All that is underpinned by these strong emotions of a sense of righteousness. And we need to recognize emotions has played a critical role in it when we try to solve or resolve in conflict intractability. Two, we need an efficacious state, a state that is responsive, a state that is dialogic, a state that uses its own established institutions to push the boundaries of the powers of the state.
Well, meanwhile, lawyer for Mamprogo overlord Mohamed Tahiru Nambe says the Nairi has not breached any law in the enskinment of a new chief for Bawku. According to him, the process was done in accordance with the tradition and they are ready to head to the court to defend the decision. But lawyer for the Kusasi side, Maxwell Agbambila, indicates allowing the decision of the enskinment of a new chief by the Nairi for Bawku to stand will amount to modern-day apartheid. But lawyers were speaking on this file.
This is a Republican state. It is not a monarchy. And everything that we do is regulated by law, that is the Constitution of Ghana. And the Constitution of Ghana, per Article 19.5, indicates that nobody should be arrested. I just want to paraphrase. Nobody should be arrested for a law that does not exist. Let's contextualize it. What the Nairi did the other time, last week, what is unconstitutional about it? What is criminal about it? It is rather the state, it is rather the republic, it is rather the government, let me put it bluntly, that is going to create problem that does not exist. The Nairi has done or had done things in accordance with the Mampuruku or Mampusi custom and tradition. Assuming without admitting that the newly enskined Bawku is arrested, what would be the charges preferred against him? And we are prepared to meet anybody in the courtroom. We will not say that we will take the law into our own hands. No. We will meet everybody in the courtroom and exonerate our client that he did not do anything untoward as far as the laws of the country is concerned.
What has brought us to this day is as a result of colonialism. And you all know that when the British came here, because of lack of human resource, they tried to use the indirect rule system. So in any community, when they go, they find somebody who looks like a prominent person. They appoint that person, and then they use him for the purposes of their indirect rule system. When they got to our part of the country, You see, the Mampusis are naturally, I'm told, people of trading nature. So they used to trade to Ouagadougou, present-day Burkina Faso, and Tinkudugu, and all of that. And the story is that people used to waylay them along those routes, and then they will rob them of their wealth. So their chief sent some of their men there to man those areas. And because they had chieftaincy, more like the Ashantis, anywhere they are gathered, they would appoint one of themselves to be chief. Bawku is a paramountcy with 25 divisions. Who are Kusasis? Is it this case that, so today, if there's a village the skin is vacant, there's a village chief should go to Bawku with an interpreter to be skinned as a Bawku Naba? And he doesn't see that that is colonialism or apartheid? How is that in this present-day democracy? That I should be forced to go to somebody whose language I don't speak to be skinned as a chief and to be controlled and ordered about by him? I think that, I mean, with the greatest of respect, that leaves much to be desired.
You're still watching Joy Newsroom with me, Razak Musbau. We'll take a quick break and we'll be back with more. Welcome back. Well, for 3 years, a young man in Owusu-Adjo, a farming community in the Ahanta West municipality, could not eat or drink. His ability to swallow had been sealed, thus unable to eat or drink. With no help in sight, he was resigned to feeding himself through a tube. Joy News got wind of his situation, and made it a project. You helped, and today we are here with a promising update. Watch this.
Do you remember 25-year-old Vincent Atobra, the young man who could not eat or swallow because of an esophageal stricture? This happened after he accidentally consumed caustic soda at age 5. This was when we first met him. After telling his story, many of you came to his aid. From 1 cedi 80 pesos to 1,000 Ghana cedis, our Momo account was awash with your kind support. One Mr. Bonsu contributed $3,000, and tech firm Comsys also paid 27,000 Ghana cedis towards his surgery. Today, Vincent has undergone surgery and is recuperating at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. Dr. Innocent Ajamli is the lead surgeon on Vincent's case.
Monday, we sent him to the operating room. And as you know, his esophagus is damaged, or what we call gullet, the tube through which food passes when we swallow. That tube is damaged. So because of the caustic soda that he had drunk. So what we went basically to do is to reconstruct a new esophagus for him. And so what we did was we took a segment of his intestine, that is the large intestine, a segment of it. And then there is a way to tunnel it under the chest bone or the breastbone and then into the neck and reconnect it with the stump of the esophagus. And then the diseased esophagus, we removed it. Yes, so basically that's what we have done.
He says Vincent will be able to swallow again very soon.
And hopefully in about 8 days' time, he should be able to eat normally, just like any of us. Yes.
So 8 days from today, or 8 days from when?
No, 8 days from today. It's usually 10 days from the day of surgery, and today is the second day after surgery. So 8 days from today, we'll ask him to start feeding through the mouth normally. The thing is that it's in stages. So what I would say is that the surgery has been done. So I would say, roughly, I would say yes, 50% of the job has been done. And probably that is the first part, which is more important.
So chances of him being like you and I eating normal is what percentage?
Oh, very, very high. Maybe to be very modest, I would say 95% chance of him being able to eat like you and I in 8 days' time, yeah.
Dr. Ajamli explains what is happening to Vincent as he recuperates in the ward.
So at the moment he cannot eat, as you know, so we are giving him IV fluids. We are giving him vitamins. That's that tube. The type we are using is called Astimine. And then there are a number of tubes that are taking some excess water out of the body. Gradually all this will be taken out. And then we are monitoring his urine, how much urine he's making, just to make sure that we are giving him enough drip. And aside that, every day we see him about 3 times every day to make sure that his temperature is fine.
From age 5, grandmother Auntie Nana has been Vincent's caregiver. She saw changes when he was brought back from surgery and is hopeful he'll recover soon. She is happy he will be able to eat again.
His condition is getting better now than before. I have hope that the situation will get better. I am relying on God and I am hopeful that he will recover soon. I am grateful that my grandchild is getting better. We are grateful to the doctors for treating him and that he will soon be able to eat.
Auntie Nana is grateful to everyone who supported her grandson's surgery.
All I can say is thank you and God bless you. All hope was lost, but intervention helped. All I can do is to pray that God blesses you all.
We'll continue to update you on Vincent's progress. Once again, thank you. For Joy News, Samuel Kojo Brace, Kwelebu.
Now, we helped Vincent. Now, help us help James, who only tried to help his community access electricity, but that unfortunately landed him in a life-threatening condition. 35-year-old professional electrician James Obin fell and injured his spine after he climbed up a street light pole to fix it. Now he's paralyzed and urgently needs about 50,000 Ghana cedis for a total spine reconstruction surgery. Jesse visited him and has more in the following report.
Have mercy on me and help me walk again. I am a very generous person. Please help me walk again.
35-year-old James Obin is a professional electrician who volunteered to fix the street lights at Dayasau in Central Region where he lives. He climbed up an 8-meter-long electrical pole to fix it, but while descending, his climbing harness belt stripped off and he fell and injured his spine.
I couldn't see anything about it. I just collapsed and they took him to hospital. They tried to ask me to raise up my legs and some things, but I couldn't do anything about that. The day I saw myself lying down like this, I couldn't do anything again, and I've been till this time.
According to James' father, Samuel Mensa, his outfit is incapable of funding his son's surgery.
We went to the pharmacies and they told us that the cost is from 50 to 60,000, and in fact, that one as a pensioner, in fact, I can't afford it. Or you be a oboa fee papa. The mama fraud to me no bomb me. That's a me mix now. In fact,
A report issued by the Greater Accra Regional Hospital, RIDGE, Neurosurgery Department stated that James' lower limbs are completely paralyzed. Surgery needs to be conducted as early as possible, as the fractured bones are relentlessly putting pressure on his nerves, causing him to be in constant pain.
I'm having the pain at my back, meaning my spinal and my wrist from this place to this side. It's not working anymore. But for the doctor's assurance, they are saying if I can afford the money that they are going to take from me, they will come bring me back.
James' mother, Ama Bodua, is hopeful that the generous viewers and listeners of Joy News and Joy FM will come through for them.
His father has tried all he can, but all efforts have fallen into futility. I have nowhere else to turn to. We are pleading with everyone to help my son walk again.
Even in agony, James makes very little of his ordeal, as doctors have assured him that there is hope for him to walk again. Jesse Sewabuafu's report read to you.
And the fate of over 400 pupils at the Etimenti Mase RC Primary Junior High School in the Ifijase Kwabre South District hangs in the balance as they learn under loose and dilapidated structures. Concerned parents and residents fear for the lives of learners and teachers as the structures show signs of giving up. The school also lacks basic study resources, which is affecting teaching and learning. Lab FM's Clinton Yabua was there and has filed this report.
The Etimeti Mase RC Primary and Junior High School has not seen any major rehabilitation since its establishment in 1950. Broken windows hang by the thread. So this is the class 4A block. It was constructed to accommodate the surplus intakes. Unfortunately, creaking doors with loose hinges and bolt locks give intruders unfettered access to the classrooms. The old, weak and cracked blocks yearn for renovation. A closer look at the window frames reveals rusted welded metal wires exposing their sharp teeth. Parts of the aluminium roofing sheets are rusting away. Meanwhile, their remains hang loosely on tiny erected concrete pillars. The plight of students at Etimeti Mase RC Primary and JHS is worsened when it rains. Class sessions end unexpectedly whenever the cloud gather. Aside from its dilapidating state, the school, serving over 400 pupils, lacks modern educational facilities and essential resources like desks and textbooks. Sanitary conditions at the school is an eyesore. It will be very difficult to get close to the toilet facility behind me, considering how dilapidated it is and how unhygienic it is. Unfortunately, the facility has been hijacked by residents here, and criminals have also inhabited the place.
If you follow your toilet, no, afa, say be ama your teachers for no clampa to toilet in himself, ma, toilet in the say, toilet do be a chocolate coffee.
Parents and residents are worried by the situation.
No, Bebana Sebi, a conforming man united me the since school, and one school in Tumpon, and then I say, Ohana motor ball a collabing, or Mupia rough, a quine who had a meton day, and no Bebana way across the road in it, and no Bebana way after her and school. No, I had that school day or where. School, a bit my part at any time. School, no, school at it. A queen be near Nintini be now to say a school no, the Janabiani baby a corner. Yame, I'm a woman penny for my boy, and I feel so your best at you, need to be see.
This is how exciting pupils are to study. All they seek for is a conducive environment that does not threaten their lives. Reporting for Joy News, Clinton Yeboah.
A young female entrepreneur in the fashion industry is urging Muslim women to venture into the fashion trade as a way of supporting their families. Ramatu Awudu, who is the CEO of Ramo Fashion Designs, made this call at an exhibition show to showcase modest Muslim clothing. She noted that the youth, particularly married women, need to seek financial independence through the acquisition of new skills to enable them survive the current economic turmoil. My colleague Anas Abit has more in the following report.
My name is Ramatu Awudu. I am the founder and creative director of Ramo Fashion and Designs.
Frustrated by the lack of suitable modest wares for Muslim women and the need to empower and inspire them with a range of modest clothing and luxury hijabs, Ramatu Awudu, the CEO of Ramo Clothing, set up her clothing business after school.
I am passionate about certain things, and one of the great passion in life is to play a role in training and supporting my fellow women into becoming creative and innovative fashion designers.
The mother of two who seeks to lead the way in encouraging married Muslim women to seek financial independence through the acquisition of skills, charged Muslim women, particularly the youth, to empower themselves to cope with the current economic turmoil.
I hope that through fashion, we can empower one another into becoming masters of our own craft and ultimately tailor our own designs. In today's society, financial empowerment is vital to all women. Whether you are a student, an unemployed graduate, or a married woman who is seeking financial security, you must invest in yourself. As the saying goes, one cannot pour from an empty cup. Therefore, learning a skill is the best gift you can offer yourself.
Main speaker at the event, Aisha Mohammed Salah, who was amazed at the turn of events, encouraged Muslim women to follow their dreams and be supportive of each other.
Actually, like I said before when I was giving a speech, I'm really amazed. Like, this is something that I never expect that it will happen in Ghana, and with non-Muslim, actually, subhanallah, a female. So this is something like amazing to us Muslim women. Like Malama Munkarama said, anyone should never underestimate the job and say this is a Ghana-made job. This is ours. We need to embrace and support it. And whoever, subhanallah, you are, you can achieve something like this and more than that.
She further charged other fashion designers in the Muslim community to adopt the habit of producing dresses that are eye-catching whilst not compromising the principles Muslim women live by.
If she continues to do something like that, I think it will empower a lot of people to know what kind of dresses they are going to wear, and also she herself too. When no one is perfect, and when something like this happens, there need to be a lot of people who advise her to maybe if you can change it into this and that is very important. And as a own Muslim, as a Muslimah too, she knows what's wrong and she knows what's right. But with advice and everything, I think she can be global, and mashallah, we are really very happy for something like this.
Salma Jibril is one of many girls who are graduating from Ramo Fashion and Design's 6-month intensive masterclass. She shared with me what propelled her to venture into the fashion industry.
What inspired me was that I was a person who really loved fabric a lot, but then I didn't even know how to make parts or even put them together. So early this year, I came across Ramo Fashion and Design, and so I decided to join her 6 months intensive masterclass. Alhamdulillah, I have learned so many things at Ramo Fashion and Design: creativity, and most importantly, time management.
Some of the participants at the fair charged Muslim youth to embrace fashion designing as a trade to help them stay employed.
Matasa gaskiya yanzu matasa ba su son koyon aiki, kuma koyon sana'a hannu aiki ne mai albarka sosai. Ba mai dinkin da zai tashi ya ce bai samu kudi cikin hannun shi ba, karya ne. Inda ya kai da gaskiya, wallahi aikin ka ya ci gaba sosai fiye ga yadda ake zata. Allah ya musu albarka. to shi ina ga ya mayan waye na ayi kokari a koyi dinki don dinki akwai amfani sosai.
Though many Westerners and some Muslims think Islam is incompatible with being stylish, Ramu Fashion and Design disagree and seek to build a brand that will create a range of hijabs and dresses that represents Islam. Anna Sabit, Joy News, Husky Hall.
Parents have been advised to expose their wards to the rich Ghanaian culture, traditions, and courtesies. In spite of academic benefits, the study of cultural values will also help give children a strong sense of identity. In a bid to promote these values among children, the Sherry-Field Montessori School organized a traditional day celebration to increase awareness on Ghanaian cultural values. There is more in this report.
Of the Sherry-Field Montessori School exhibiting their understanding of the Ghanaian cultural values. Pupils of the Sherry-Field Montessori School exhibiting their understanding of the Ghanaian cultural values and norms through drama and dancing. According to school authorities, this is one of the surest ways of exposing children to their true sense of identity, aside the benefits of demonstrating what is being taught theoretically in the classrooms.
Today is a very special day for us to witness our traditional day and to have an experience of some of the ethnic groups, how they name their children when they give birth to them. Some of us, we don't know, or we've never witnessed such a ceremony before. We've been in Accra all our lives. And as to how children are being adored, we don't know.
Speaking on the sidelines of the traditional day celebration, Chief Executive of the Sherry-Field Montessori School, Jifar Jano, expressed worry that people are losing sight of the beautiful cultural norms and values of various ethnic groups in Ghana.
As I said previously, we are losing sight of our own tradition or our own culture. Ghana has a culture, beautiful one from all the regions. So when I was growing up, I realized that they always set up a day for culture, a culture day, where all the schools in the various municipalities will come and converge at one side, and then they have their various traditions that they have to display for us to know that this is what. If this is not encouraged, if our tradition or our way of life is not encouraged in the various schools that we have now, it will come to a point or at a time we will lose track of where we are coming from, and our country will be full of foreign culture. So it's something that I would like every school to encourage or to put on his or its calendar, to always have a traditional day and to do it practically, to demonstrate it practically. Not necessarily naming ceremony. It could be cooking competition, and where we get food from various regions and they will cook it and display it and give it the significance of the items they are using. For example, what we witnessed today, they told us about the significance of the water they use, the cutlass they give to the child, the alcohol, and while they have to raise the child, and a whole lot of things that I have learned. I've learned during the outdoor. So I encourage us to look at it carefully, since we are busy parents and we are always on the go. The school can step in for us to educate our children about our culture and tradition.
Human resource person at the Ghana North Municipal Assembly, Sarah Tego, also underscored the need to inculcate cultural values in school children. The benefits, she argues, goes beyond academics.
I must say I'm really impressed about the performances and also the quality of information each group delivered. Every group was on point of their game, although there were some few left out.
Why do you think we should focus on learning about traditions?
because there are lots of things that must be learned. There are some very important information that the learners has to know. In the Akan's tradition, for instance, during the ceremony, they mention usi fita, usi isu, meaning they are inculcating the habit of honesty, truthfulness, loyalty in the child. They also put a broom in the hand of the female baby and a cutlass in the hand of the male child, meaning they are promoting hard work into the child. So these are some of the things that makes it very important.
What does it bring?
It will go a long way to help them perform well in the examination and also help them in their way of doing things.
The Sherryfield Montessori School says it is taking steps to collaborate with other stakeholders in the education sector to promote the traditional day celebration.
Now, if you indulge in heavy alcohol intake, then you are endangering your health. That's according to the head of the National Diabetes Management and Research Center, Dr. Yakuba Atiase, who says individuals who engage in that act and other sedentary lifestyles are likely to suffer from type 2 diabetes. According to her, people who do not eat well or are involved in such lifestyles are prone to the disease, hence the need to be conscious about their health. She spoke to Joy News at the launch of the Let's Talk Diabetes book.
Book brings to light the importance of educating Ghanaians on diabetes and its related matters. Dr. Atiase stressed on the need to strengthen access to quality education on diabetes for both patients, caregivers, and society.
This book was written primarily for patients and their caregivers so that they will know what to do with diabetes, because diabetes involves a lot of lifestyle changes, it involves a lot of discipline. But beyond that, the book is also useful for people even without diabetes, because the book will tell you some of the signs and symptoms to look out for, some of the things you have to do to stay healthy. And it's also good for even health workers who educate patients with diabetes. I try to simplify the book as much as possible so that even healthcare workers can use the book in diabetes education for their patients.
However, Dr. Atiase called for more stringent policies to support patients with diabetes to understand the disease to stand a better chance of managing it.
At the policy level and the government level, there's a lot going on behind the scenes, and I'm sure we will see the effect very soon. And on the individual level, we also have to do better, but I think we need a lot of investment, we need a lot of education, public education, just like we did for COVID. We were talking about COVID every day, how to prevent it, what to do. I think it's high time that we started talking a lot more about diabetes, in the media. If you have diabetes, it's not a death sentence. You can live well with diabetes. There are things you have to do, there are guidelines you have to follow. And I pray that you'll find that information so that you can live well with diabetes.
Dr. Atiase's book, Let's Talk Diabetes, is inspired by her many years of experience in dealing with diabetic patients. However, she believes the non-diabetic patients also need to be educated on the chronic disease in order to keep them on their guard.
Now, all is set for the much-anticipated gospel event, Experience with Daniel Hamilton. The Paris Dome, in the next 4 hours, we'll see the likes of Joe Mettle, Ohima Messi, Celestin Donko, and the woman of the moment, Daniel Hamilton, lead patrons into a time of worship and praise. Well, that's all we have for you on Joy Newsroom. With me, Razak Musbau. There's so much more on myjoyonline.com. Do have a lovely afternoon.